Teenager on trial, accused of beating a man to death in a fit of road rage in Kent County last fall.
From thinking he could handle things on his own, but...
Okay, at this point, you want a lawyer?
Maybe not.
To realize they can't outsmart the police.
What you did, what you guys did, they heard what was said, and what happened.
Here are 3 instances when teen killers realize they've been caught. Starting with the case of Derek, who not only killed his mother, but also called the police on himself.
I see officers. Do I leave? Do I leave my house?
Do not leave.
Okay.
Stay there where you are in your apartment. I want to show you.
This 13-year-old Derek Rosa on a call with a 911 dispatcher, calmly waiting for the police after making a disturbing call.
Need to know if your mom is breathing.
She's dead, miss.
Okay, and what did you do then?
Blood all over the floor.
I need to know, do you think we can help your mom?
Miss, she's dead.
While the call sounded alarming, what officers saw in front of them was much worse. When the officers arrived at the apartment, they were taken straight into a bedroom where they saw a woman brutally stabbed in the neck, lying motionless on the bed with a flood of blood around the room. Just a few inches away was a crib with a newborn baby sleeping completely unharmed. Seeing that there was no one else present and Derek was the one who called 911, officers apprehended him and took him with them. Now, sitting calmly in the interrogation room, Derek begins to speak, telling the detectives what unfolded that night.
Tell me about your day at school. Regular day at school?
It was regular. I didn't do too much work.
You didn't do too much work?
No.
Regular release day time, stuff like that? How do you get there, in bus?
Yeah.
Okay. You got back?
On bus.
On bus?
Yes.
Okay. And then you were home the whole day? Or did you leave?
I stayed home after school.
You stayed home after school?
Yeah.
Okay.
The detective begins with a few basic questions to start the conversation. This approach is designed to create a comfortable environment for the suspect or anyone being interrogated, helping them feel safe and more willing to speak openly. Given that Derek is only 13 years old, the detectives aim to ensure he doesn't become anxious and is able to answer their questions without hesitation. Seeing how calm and composed Derek was while answering their questions, the detectives quickly shifted their focus to the reasons they were all there.
What happened tonight? Were you, do you communicate with people over the phone? Were you talking? Tell me what happened tonight.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Well, at around like 10, I went to bed.
Okay.
My mom did too.
Is that your regular time?
Like
9?
Yeah.
Okay. Who was all there?
Me, my mom, and my sister.
Okay. So you went to sleep around 10?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what?
I woke up.
To sum it up, shortly after Derek woke up, he went into the kitchen, grabbed a large knife, and headed straight to his mother's bedroom, where his mother and sister were sleeping. Without a second thought, he began stabbing his mother.
You killed her? All right.
It was just a big size kitchen knife.
That big?
Yeah.
What color was the handle?
Purple.
Purple?
Yes.
Okay.
The detectives didn't even need to press Derek for a confession. He was open and forthcoming, having already admitted to the crime before arriving at the station. But the unsettling part of the interrogation went beyond just his confession. It turns out it wasn't just his mother he was planning on killing, but also himself.
I mean, he owns 2 guns. He has a Glock 19.
Okay.
And then, I don't know what it's called. Another one.
Okay. What color are they?
The Glock 19 is black, and then the other one has a silver slide and then like a dark bluish handle.
Okay.
So I went into the closet.
Mm-hmm.
I found his book bag because he goes shooting at gun ranges.
Okay.
I grabbed the gun. I put the magazine in the gun.
Okay.
I pulled back the slide, but I didn't want to shoot myself.
Okay.
I intended to shoot myself before, but I couldn't.
Listen to Derek. the detectives began to suspect that there was something more complex at play. Derek's detailed explanations suggested that he might be suffering from a mental illness. Although a definitive diagnosis had not been made at that point, his elaborate planning indicated the possibility of paranoia or delusions. These conditions involve believing that others are out to harm them or that they are part of a larger conspiracy, which can lead to violent or self-destructive behavior. For example, right before the murders, Derek was seen on a door cam talking to his mother in Spanish. He asked, "Why do you always tell me don't run?" This might seem like a small thing, but it could have a big effect on Derek's mental state. It's possible that this conversation influenced him and led him to focus his violence on his mother instead of harming himself.
And then what did you do?
I decided to call my friends to tell them what happened, and then I said goodbye to my friends.
You called them before you decided to try to shoot yourself or afterwards?
After.
Okay. How many friends did you call?
Only one.
What's his name?
I don't know his real name. He's an online friend.
He's an online friend?
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you known him?
Since like I was 10. 3 years.
3 years?
It's very troubling that, despite knowing someone for 3 years and claiming to know them well, Derek didn't even know his friend's real name. Derek referred to his friend as Sweden, a name he'd made up. This raises new questions for the detectives. They now need to find out if this online friend had any influence on Derek, or if he encouraged him to commit the crime. Derek told the detectives that after he killed his mother, he sent his friend 3 pictures, 2 of his dead mother and 1 of himself with bloodstains on his hands. At this point, the detectives needed to understand why Derek committed such a terrible act. However, Derek then suddenly changed his behavior, adding more confusion to the case.
Did you stab your mom?
Can I go to the bathroom before I answer that?
Yes, of course, of course.
Give me 1 second.
It was strange and unsettling when Derek suddenly chose to stop the interrogation. After committing such a horrific act, he seemed completely unfazed and disconnected from reality. After the interview, Derek was charged with his mother's murder. He is currently being held in adult jail without bond, and his trial is still ongoing. The reason behind Derek's actions remain unclear to this day, but Christian's intentions had been very clear from the beginning. This is 18-year-old Christian Hillman, who is currently being held in Kent County Sheriff's Department after beating up and severely injuring 64-year-old William McFarland.
Here's the deal, okay? I called you, you graciously answered the phone, asked you to come in, you were like, yeah, absolutely.
According to those who knew Christian, he was a man with a very short temper and would get worked up over the slightest of things. He also had an odd obsession with being perceived as a tough, no-nonsense guy. He was obsessed with motorbikes and would do strolls to the city with his friends. And on one such night, on September 29, 2016, he got into an altercation with William McFarland that turned into a physical confrontation. Christian easily managed to overpower William and viciously kicked him until he was unconscious and unresponsive. Throughout the interrogation, Christian tried to keep up the facade of being unhinged and tried to manipulate the officers to take his side.
A lot of money too. You got a job working anywhere right now?
Yeah, and the thing was there, like the atmosphere and everything there, it was just really upsetting to me because the manager there had actually asked me, like I thought he was joking, but like a really well-dressed black man walked into the store and he started walking around and he was just doing his own thing, just getting groceries. And my supervisor he said, hey, I want you to follow that black dude around and make sure he doesn't steal anything. Oh, wow.
Christian notices both the interrogators are black, so he most likely made up this story to come off as an anti-racist to win their favor. This is a very common tactic used by violent criminals. They think if somehow they make the investigators like them, they would get some more leniency. With that out of the way, Christian starts telling his side of the story to the officers.
But now to get to the actual story of what happened tonight, me and my buddies we were riding, and all of a sudden, this guy in this truck just pulled up behind me. And the guy in the truck pulled up behind me, and he started blaring his horn at me.
Let me ask you this. Where were you at when you were riding? This guy pulled up behind you. Where were you at?
Well, I don't know if you guys know the area.
I do. I used to work years ago when I worked the street. I used to work there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, do you know, like, 52nd at Whitneyville?
I know where 56, where the railroad tracks are there.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
You're an OG, bro.
Yeah, right. Right.
I think it was a Chevy Silverado, and I think it was black as well. But anyhow,
He pulls up behind you.
yeah, he pulled up behind me, and it's more for like people who ride motorcycles. If people are tailgating someone on a motorcycle, one slip up and you're dead because that next car is gonna run you over.
Right.
So I kept stopping. I kept asking like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
What do you mean you stop and ask? Like you talk to him, or you're just kind of giving emotions?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
like, "What are you doing?" He was trying, like, he wouldn't go by me. He just kept riding my ass. So basically, I stopped for a second, and he started getting all mad, getting out of the car and everything. And I was like, "I don't want trouble," and anything. And he put his hands around my neck, and there was a thorough ass beating after that.
Okay.
Honestly, I feel like I was in self-defense, though.
You feel like what?
Self-defense, though, because he really did attack me first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did you do?
Oh, no, he was already down the street. He didn't see it happen, but he pulled right up at the last second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he really didn't witness anything, as a matter of fact. There was only two of us.
Okay. Witnesses saw 3, so.
He's a white dude, got really long hair.
Okay.
I just want you guys to know that he had absolutely nothing to do with
That's
this.
fine. Look, I wasn't there, man. So, he has really long hair?
Yeah.
What color?
It's like darker brown.
Notice that the detective has adopted a nonchalant demeanor as he's listening to his side of the story. A nonchalant demeanor can make the suspect uncomfortable as they can perceive the detective as uninterested or dismissive. They might even feel uneasy or pressured to say more in an attempt to engage the detective, often incriminating themselves in the process. It also makes it seem like the detective knows more than he actually does, which may prompt the suspect to tell the truth out of fear of being called out if they lie.
Could I put these handcuffs on?
No, you don't have to put them on.
Alright. Those aren't handcuffs. Those are ankle cuffs. You go around your ankle. Hell yeah. And basically what happened is I asked him, like, why are you following me? Like, why are you, cause I pulled over into a church parking lot to let him go by, and he stopped. And then I honestly think he was intoxicated.
Mm-hmm.
Because he got out and he was slurring his words and everything. Oh, he was a big dude. But he got out of the car and he put his hands around my neck like he was trying to strangle me.
Did he say anything?
Yeah, he was talking a lot of stuff.
So he puts his hands around your neck, and
Like
you...
it was like a really hard. It wasn't just like a play thing. He was trying to strangle me.
And then what did you do?
Well, like I used to be an ex-heavyweight boxer. So he hit me in the face once, and then I just lost my shit.
Okay.
Like I don't know. Like, I really feel bad about it.
No.
Like I really don't like resorting to violence. Like I hate violence, man.
Sure.
But I just lost my temper. Well, basically, he tried to pick me up. He was like, and I can guarantee you he was intoxicated.
Okay.
And he got out of the car and he was like, what are you gonna do? Tried to put his hands on my neck and everything, and grab my neck. So I got him off me, and I hit him in the face a few times. He started to like stumble down.
With what?
With what?
What'd you hit him with?
My hands.
Okay. Okay.
And then, basically, after that, I kept hitting him, and I was telling him to please stay down before I have to hurt you more. So I just had to completely make sure like he was immobilized. He couldn't hurt me. He couldn't hurt my friends. Me and my buddies just took off and went back to my house and sat down for a minute, contemplated what happened.
You and your buddies, who, I mean, you've said it 3 times. I mean, who else was with you? You said you and your buddies at the beginning. You just said it. So who else was there? I know you're afraid that you don't want to get this person in trouble because he may have been there and not been. The fact of the matter is it's 3 of you. So, I mean, we know this.
Oh yeah, well there was...
Okay.
He left the old man gargling and immobilized in the parking lot and didn't bother calling 911. Unfortunately for Christian, there was an event in the church on the same day of the assault, and the attendees witnessed everything firsthand. And his side of the story did not match theirs.
So for a case like this, it's simple. I mean, we just talked to the witness. What'd you see? What'd you hear? Who did what? Who did what next? It's better than catching it on video, because you have witnesses who don't even know you and witness this whole thing go down. And you guys didn't realize that they're standing watching this thing go down. They watched what you did, what you guys did. They heard what was said and what happened, and that's how we ended up there, is because they were the ones that called 911. Your story is not even close to what these witnesses, these poor folks, saw. It's not true.
Can I get an attorney in here?
What's that?
Can I get an attorney in here? It's up to you. I'd like one right now.
At this point, you can begin to see Christian become agitated with the officers as he notices they're not buying his story. However, before the officers left the room, they had to shackle him to the ground.
Oh, hell yeah. I never had it on before.
Yeah, you're going to have them on now.
You think that's cool?
The detectives are clearly annoyed with him and his unhinged demeanor. So one of them decides to straighten him out to make him understand the gravity of the situation he's in. However, soon, everything gets heated in the room.
You think that's cool? What's cool? Having those on? No, it's just a new experience.
Okay.
But I mean, you almost like think it's like cool. Do you think it's cool to be here right now? I mean, no, I don't think it's cool. I don't think it's cool somebody put their hands on my neck too and threaten me. Okay. That's not cool. And you walked up in here and you're talking to my partner, calling him bro. He's over twice your age. You should be calling him sir. Sir, can you please stop raising your voice? No, I will not, because you know what? You are not going to tell me what to do. Do you understand? I will file a complaint on you. Go ahead, do it. Go ahead. Go give me my fucking lawyer, nigga. You think this really? You see what I mean? Punk, sitting there calling me a nigger? I never even called one of my partners. I never even called you a nigger, bro. Really? What did you just say? That's your problem. That's why you don't understand the gravity of why you're sitting in this chair at 1:30 in the morning. Old kid who thinks he's a tough guy. And you want us to sit there and believe that you're just driving down the road on your ATV and this guy's honking his horn and you didn't do nothing wrong? You got an attitude and it shows by the way you're talking to my partner.
He was a 5-year-old man.
Hey, he also put his hands around me.
Okay, so you're going to say that to all these other witnesses that saw what happened. And when we talk to your boys, I guarantee you their story isn't going to be the same. Because they're going to look out for themselves.
Because they're not going to tell you shit, cuz.
Okay.
Not only do the officers discover that him being an anti-racist was a lie, but they also found a bit more about how his brain works. It is clear that Christian cannot handle confrontation and that his temper flares easily. As the detective said, it's not their job to arrange an attorney for Christian. He has to arrange one for himself, but he can't seem to understand this basic concept. As soon as he gets his phone back, the first thing he does is call his dad, who doesn't seem to care much about what's going on.
You wanna know something that's got me super fucked up? What? You wanna know something that's got me super fucked up? Well, right now I am in the Kent County Police Department. I am chained to the floor, and they were refusing me to give me an attorney.
Well, we have to hire one. What did they charge you with?
No, this is the thing, Dad. Like, literally, they will not get me a public appointed attorney, and that's their job.
Because we can afford one. They don't have to get you one until after they're arraigned.
Alright, well, I'm not staying in jail tonight. I'm sorry, like, somebody's gonna have to bail me out.
What are you arrested for?
Well, for getting in a fight with that dude. I shouldn't even brought my ass down here. They're trying to pull that good cop, bad cop shit. That shit's hilarious. They think they got that shit all figured out like they're some OGs or some shit.
Christian,
I'm fuck 12. I don't give a fuck about them niggas.
Christian, come on now. You know, you can make things work for yourself. Just talking.
No, but the only problem, this is what I'm not understanding here, is they will not give me an attorney which is supposed to be present during this time. They have me shackled to the floor. I am not violent. I have no weapons.
This will just get you in a lot more trouble.
No, I got freedom of speech. I can say whatever the fuck I want to those.
With the way his dad is reacting to his son getting arrested, it is clear that this isn't the first time he's gotten in trouble for something like this. And he sounded like he doesn't want to get involved. He hung up on his dad after he told him that he can't bail him out, so he decided to call his attorney. Christian's dad posted a $100,000 bond to bail out his son. However, a few days after the incident, the 60-year-old victim succumbed to his injury, and Christian was arrested for second-degree murder. He was found guilty, with his friends testifying against him as witnesses. He was sentenced to 100 years in prison and would be eligible for parole after 22 years. While Christian's victim never had the chance to explain what happened, Thomas's victim was able to give a detailed account and even called the police herself during the ordeal.
Oh, I'm being stabbed, and it's Haggard Road, and I love Thomas, and protest, please.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I can't hear you. What did you say happened there?
What?
What did you say happened?
I'm being stabbed!
You said you were stabbed?
Stabbed in the stomach, stabbed in the neck.
Okay, by who?
Right everywhere. Help, please, 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 please. Haggard Drive.
Okay, who else is there? Hello? Hello?
Oh,
Hello?
I just got a knife in my head.
Who has a knife to your head?
I'm dead.
These were the chilling words of Lynn Whitveaton as she begged the police to save her from her stepson, who was rampaging through the house and attacking her and her husband. But just seconds into the phone call, a loud commotion could be heard in the background, with Lynn begging for her life until she went silent. Minutes later, another disturbing 911 call came in.
My brother is being ridiculously aggressive right now. He broke someone's car window with a rock.
Okay.
He took mushrooms at 8 o'clock tonight, and
Okay.
I don't...
So somebody
He
else
broke
from
into my
there,
dad's house.
somebody else from their girls just called in. Do you know anything about that?
Okay, he's at my dad's house, and he's broken into the house. We're outside in a car, me and my mom.
Okay.
I can see him through the front window, and he's sitting by the front door. I don't know if he has a weapon, but he's dangerous because he's attacked.
This time, it was Christina, who requested immediate police response after her brother, Thomas Chan, had broken into their father's house. And it was the same house from where officers had received a call from Lynn. When officers arrived, they were first met by a young Paul Thomas covered in blood. He was holding a knife and kneeling on the front porch, praying. When officers approached him, Thomas began shouting, claiming that he had performed God's work, and the house was a place of sin infested with devils. He even begged the officers to put a bullet in his head. Thomas was so out of control that it took 4 officers to restrain him and put him in the patrol car. But that wasn't the only shocking part. As the officers entered the house, they were met with a gruesome scene. Broken glass was scattered everywhere, blood was smeared across the rooms, and they found 2 bodies covered in blood. Dr. Andrew Chan, who lay motionless with severe stab wounds, and Lynn Whitbean, who was barely alive. Lynn was taken to the hospital, and Thomas was brought to the station, where he spent the night trying to regain his composure. The next day, after Thomas was informed of the previous night's events, he was seated for an interrogation with the detective.
How old were you when your parents split up? I understand it was like 13 years ago. Does that sound about right?
I don't wish that's right.
Okay. They do live fairly close to each other, so you're able to kind of go back and forth between the 2 houses, which is good.
I don't wish that's right.
Okay. Unfortunately, you maybe took something that you shouldn't have, and it led to a pretty horrible incident.
I don't wish to answer right now.
Thomas chose not to answer any of the detective's questions, despite her multiple attempts. He hoped to frustrate her and eventually make her leave the room. He made sure his stance was clear and recorded, thinking it might help if the detective tried any illegal tricks to make him talk. But while he might have thought he was being smart, the detective was even smarter and knew exactly how to get Thomas to open up. The detective used the silent trick, where interrogators become completely silent to create discomfort and anxiety in the suspect, encouraging them to talk. This technique worked on Thomas, and out of guilt, he began to speak.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I got a God complex.
Okay.
And I've never felt like that before, and it's so stupid. So stupid. And then I thought that everyone was just turning on me. And I got scared. Ran to my dad's for help. In honesty, friends and family who tried to help, their faces start to be aggressive and sinister.
Thomas mentioned seeing everyone's faces around him turn devilish, as if they were all out to get him. This was due to the magic mushrooms he had taken earlier with his friends. What he described were hallucinations, paranoia, and spiritual experiences, all side effects of the drug. The detective's trick seemed to have worked as Thomas began talking. The detective then carefully asked him what had happened throughout the night and if he remembered anything.
And from then on, it's kind of just a quick blur. It was me just acting as though I was fighting for my life. That's what it felt like. No, like I remember like coming at him, but as soon as like came at him, everything just kind of blanks out, and I don't know where or how I hit him. I just remember seeing his face, and it just wasn't his face. His eyes looked like they were all black. His hair was all black and growing on end.
Thomas struggled to remember the details of the previous night. He mentioned having a godlike feeling after taking the drugs, even though he wasn't a religious person. He tried to answer every question, but was nearly overwhelmed by his emotions. At this point, the detective realized that if Thomas stopped talking now, it would be hard to get him to open up again. So she used his dad as a way to keep him talking, knowing that Thomas's guilt would make him want to confess everything. This strategy worked, and Thomas continued to provide as much information as he could. The detective seemed to revisit the same information a few times. This might have been to visualize the events accurately, or to ensure that Thomas was completely sober during the interrogation so that his statements couldn't be used against him in court.
Being that I was in the police car, and then I closed my eyes.
Okay.
And I felt jostling and all this, and I was meditating again, which I think that's like where I went wrong, when I really started to get into my head and like really let things run.
Thomas's account of the events seemed genuine because his actions and emotions lined up with what he was saying. His hand movements and facial expressions matched the details of his story, and he kept eye contact while talking, which usually suggests sincerity. He showed real emotions like fear and guilt that fit the serious nature of what he was describing. All these clues, along with the detective's observations, pointed to him being truthful about what happened. Seeing this, the investigator strayed away through a harsh question.
Have you ever thought about killing your dad?
Never, no, I've never thought about killing anyone.
So you're saying that you did not set out to go to your dad's house to kill?
To be safe. Because I thought my mom and sister and everyone was turning against me.
This might have been done because Thomas had already given his side of the story multiple times. If he changed his account now, it would create inconsistencies that could be used against him in court.
Like once or twice, yeah. And every other time it's been like a life-changing thing for me. Like before that I was smoking weed like every single day.
When was that?
Like all last year. I probably smoked weed every single day for like a year and a half, and it was seriously debilitating me.
Right.
And then I took shrooms. And after that, I totally saw that like I don't need to do this. Mental illnesses.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
It's just chemical imbalance in my brain, causing depression.
When did that all start?
Probably grade 11. But the weeks leading up to coming home, I started feeling a lot better, and I stopped smoking weed, and I did all this great things, and had a whole new drive, and then this happened. The worst possible thing happened.
So you were feeling better in the last few weeks, and the weeks leading up to the 19th.
Ultimately, Thomas stood trial for second-degree murder, attempted murder, and aggravated assault. He was found guilty of reduced charges of manslaughter and was sentenced to 5 years in prison.